Hello and welcome to our WaterLog video series. Today we'll be installing a bubbler system in a river. We will focus on details of one method of installation. This particular site is located along the Logan River at the mouth of the canyon in Logan, Utah, very close to our office. The site consists of an existing radar level sensor, a shaft encoder, a 522 plus GOES transmitter, and this site is maintained by the USGS. The DCP, bubbler, and shaft encoder are mounted on one of the pre-assembled boards and secured inside the gauge house. We will first install the orifice tube in the water, which for this installation we will be using a 10-foot galvanized 2-inch pipe threaded on both ends. On one end, we've installed a 2-inch to 3/4 inch reducer. We will feed our standard orifice line inside one end of the conduit. The other end, we will secure the orifice line with our orifice kit, which consists of a swage lock fitting and a 2-inch pipe cap. Once the orifice tube is secured in the pipe can then be installed in the river. Keep in mind, one of the keys to accurate water level measurements using the bubbler systems is a secure orifice line installation. Whatever manner that is chosen to secure the pipe on the river should be performed in such a way as to keep the end of the orifice exit secure and located in an area of the river where it would not be torn out by flooding and floating debris. Installation in a river of the orifice line should be a little downstream of perpendicular to the water flow as shown in this installation. An upstream facing orifice line will create a false pressure, while a downstream facing orifice line will create a vacuum causing drawdown. In addition, the orifice line must always slope downward to the river from the bubbler so as not to have any valleys or dips in the orifice line the entire distance. While this orifice line is next to the gauge house, orifice lines may be located up to 1,000 feet from the bubbler, however, keeping in mind the continuous downward slope. This particular site we have used rebar crossed to secure the pipe on the river. This may not be the best manner for high water flows, but for smaller and low flow rivers this method is acceptable. In this case we have secured the rebar in 3 sections. The orifice line can then be secured to the bubbler, and in this instance we have used a 90-degree PVC bend running up the gauge house wall through the 3/4 inch conduit. By drilling a hole in the side of the gauge house, we can then install a 90-degree conduit elbow with a cover to feed the orifice tube through to the bubbler. Once inside the gauge house, we can secure the orifice tubing to the bubbler This is done by using a brass squeeze lock fitting that comes with each bubbler system. Pipe tape should be used for the threads on the fitting going into the bubbler manifold only, and not the fitting which secures the orifice tubing. The fitting for the orifice tube is secured using a 5/8 and 11/16 end wrenches. Tighten the inner brass fitting using the 5/8 inch wrench until snug. Now ensure the orifice tubing has a clean, straight cut, and insert into the ferrule set as shown. Insert the orifice tubing into the brass fitting and fasten the nut onto the fitting until finger tight. For new fittings, tighten the outside fitting to 3/4 turn. Using Snoop or soapy water, test for leaks in and around the fitting and tube entry. Leaks will become more apparent during purging cycles. Therefore, be sure to test during these purging cycles of the line. With the bubbler powered, the system should be operational. To ensure a proper orifice installation, check to see if bubbles are coming out the end of the orifice line. Depending on the installation, it may be difficult to see the continuous flow of bubbles. For some sites, a purge may be necessary to note the bubbles. The bubbler can be purged manually in the field. Notice the two buttons on the component board inside the bubbler. One is labeled the release tank and the other purge. Press the purge button and hold for 1 second. You should hear a faint click followed by the pump turning on and pumping up to the preset value. Default is 50 psi for the 30 psi sensor. Notice the pressure gauge build to the default pressure and begin to purge the orifice line. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please watch for other videos that will be released shortly.